Retornando então ao programa de internacionalização da UDC e hoje recebendo o professor PhD Robert Carr, que é um ícone em diversas áreas e sempre de sucesso. Ele ministrou palestra na UDC falando sobre liderança e inovação, mas agora eu quero saber um pouquinho mais sobre essa história de sucesso que começou lá na França, onde o senhor, professor, estudou literatura e história. Como é que foi essa história? Como é que começou tudo isso, essa história de sucesso da sua vida?
Well, I guess I'll start. My life has many chapters as a book, and maybe unlike a book with a similar theme, mine has a variety of themes in the book. Perhaps one would say a series of short stories. But I guess I started my life in Florida, in Miami, and I think I gravitated towards language and literature and art history just because of my family being in the arts and being very focused in the arts. So I went to the university and ended up getting a degree in French literature and art history, and then decided to go to France. And in France, I experienced the joy of that study, but there was something missing. There was something that I wasn't sure that was exactly what I wanted to do for my life. So I returned, and in conversations with my professors and from the university, and knowing I had a really good, solid background in science and in math before I studied literature and history of art, they suggested medicine, because they suggested that medicine was more a humanistic science than just pure science. So I accepted the offer to go to medical school. But also I was interested in understanding more about the human body and the performance of the body. And this is kind of a theme that I've had throughout my life, this understanding of what makes us tick, what makes us work, and how can I become better in physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so I saw an opportunity to actually use that concept of performance by being an Air Force pilot. So I joined the U.S. Air Force, and I began a series of studies in becoming a physician that managed and worked with pilots, and going through the pilot training myself, became a physician pilot in the F-15 aircraft, which is a high-performance jet fighter aircraft. I guess similar to Top Gun, but that's in the Navy, and this was the Air Force. And I really enjoyed it. It was extremely satisfying, very intense at times. You have to focus and be disciplined as a pilot, but also a lot of interesting experiments about how we eat affects the performance of the pilot. How we prepare mentally affects the performance of the pilot. The clothes that the pilot wears, the instruments in the plane, all of that is very important to making sure that the performance of the pilot is as optimal with the machine as possible. And of course, the machine is much more powerful than the pilot. So you have to balance and make sure that the pilot can manage that machine. So that was another chapter of my life, this Air Force medical chapter. But then something happened personally at that time. One of my dear pilot friends developed a condition which we know as HIV or other countries SIDA. And it was just becoming known, this condition. And so that motivated me to start a new chapter and go and really study areas of epidemiology and infectious disease. And I worked then in our federal area of both the military and the government in understanding more this HIV issue, the human immunodeficiency virus. And spent many years doing research and publishing and presenting. And it was at one of those presentations that my future employer, GlaxoSmithKline, came to me and said, would you like to come work for a pharmaceutical vaccine company? And so I thought about it, and actually I think it created another chapter of my life, this time working in industry, in creating products such as pills and vaccines that actually can help the world and can increase the quality of life of humans across all of the world. So that was very satisfying, and I spent 25 years actually in that company doing various things, research, management of regulations, and eventually became the head physician for the organization. After that, I felt another chapter was, I think, important, and this is the current chapter that I'm in, and that's the one where I'm giving back to the next generation of students. So I went and began teaching at the university and working both at Georgetown and now at Johns Hopkins in the areas of leadership, in the areas of understanding human performance, and at the same time trying to help the larger world understand how can we achieve our own performance in a better way and in a less expensive way. I'm going to wait so you can cut this part. And then I'll just end the final section. Is that okay?
Eu queria saber do senhor qual é a diferença das sensações que o senhor já passou. Primeiro, sendo médico, pesquisador, auxiliando na pesquisa contra o vírus da AIDS. Ao mesmo tempo, sendo piloto, a sensação de liberdade. E agora a sensação de ajudar, de repassar conhecimento aos alunos que estão começando a construir as suas vidas. Como o senhor diferencia essas três sensações?
I think there's differences and there's similarities. The differences are part of kind of one's stage in life, where I think in the beginning I was very curious and trying to identify where do I fit in, what really calls me as an individual. And so I tried a couple of things, things that I thought would be important, and they were good experiences, good foundations, but then I was curious about other things, right? So the beginning of my life is more around curiosity and pushing myself to do things that were different. But then as you age and you have children and you begin to reflect on, well, is that all? Is it about me, or is it about others? And I think that's when I shifted to think about, well, can I do work that actually benefits others? And in a large company like GlaxoSmithKline, we have 150,000 employees. Yes, you benefit all the employees, but we have products and vaccines that affect hundreds and hundreds of millions of people around the world. That's huge. I can't do that as a physician one-on-one, but all of a sudden I can have an impact across the whole world population. So I think that is how I shifted to the next chapter in terms of thinking more about others than myself, and that's called maturation. I think we mature and we get older, and we start to think maybe about what footprint do we want to leave on this earth? What's our legacy? And I think those questions allowed me to make these kinds of decisions. And now, because I've retired from the industry and my kids are grown, and I don't have to worry about me and as much as helping my family, I can help others. And that's the area that I think I'm getting much meaning out of it at the moment.
Se existisse uma fórmula de sucesso, uma fórmula simples de sucesso, que fórmula seria essa pelo conhecimento e pela experiência que o senhor tem até hoje?
So I think the formula is, for me personally, and the one I would probably share with others, is that through these experiences, always have a point at which you reflect on what did this experience do for you? What does it mean for you? Is it fulfilling you? Is it giving you meaning? And if not, let's find another way to help build that meaning. And so that's the first part, I think. The formula is really understanding you in the moment of experiencing and wondering, is this really giving you meaning? Secondly, though, is to open yourself up to explore new things. Don't feel like because you chose this one path, that if you don't go down this path, you'll be a failure. Many times we get in our own way by assuming that, oh, I've made this choice, everyone is looking at me, and if I don't continue down this way, everyone's going to say, why? And so we go continue down the way, and we may not want to go on that road, but we don't know how to get off. And oftentimes there's a saying in English, we climb the ladder of success, right? So often we're climbing this ladder of success, but when we get to the top, are we on the right building? Or do we want to be on a different building? And you don't want to wait to the end of your life to actually know that you're on the wrong building, right? So having that awareness along the way is really, I think, the formula for success. And then being determined and disciplined to follow that path, that vision that you've created for yourself. And allowing yourself, again, to change the vision if you find that it's not giving you meaning. Because I think meaning, people say we should all search for happiness, and I don't think we should. I think we should search for meaning. Because meaning sometimes comes with great happiness, but also sometimes it comes with great sadness. That's part of being a human. So I think if we search for meaning, then we will have a life of joy and fulfillment. And I think that's my definition of success.
Eu queria dizer para o senhor que nós aprendemos muito com o senhor na palestra, hoje aqui também. Foi um prazer muito grande recebê-lo aqui, foi uma honra para a UDC, aqui para o nosso programa de internacionalização. E volte sempre.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to be here with you all, and I definitely will be coming back as often as I can.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you. Thank you.
E nós encerramos mais um programa de internacionalização da UDC e voltamos ao próximo programa com toda certeza, com outro ícone, outro referencial que visita aqui o Centro Universitário UDC. Até lá!